Yes, yes, y'all and Johnny Boy be ballin'. What's going on? We had a lovely night last night on the fastest freaking show in MLB. Absolutely anywhere. With your boy. With your fucking boy. Big Johnny Stud. We're coming out the chair as always. Brooklyn, New York, as always, coming to you worldwide. Oh, man, we are jacked up. Got the nice birthday parlay going, lots of green screen. Shout out to Shay. Holy crap, this ain't madness.
This is Sparta!
Bro, man. Oh gosh. And death, taxes, the sun rising in the east, setting in the west, bears taking stinky shits in the woods, and Jaybird banging up green screens every single day. Yo, can't lose with the tools we use. Feeling really good, man. Love to see it. People building off the work. We are rocking around the clock tonight. You may be wondering, who the hell are you? I'm your host. Follow me on Twitter at John Legaza Flow, sharpening a damn razor. Same handle over on Substack, where $2 a week get you 5 pounds of shit in a 2-pound box. Find out what all the fucking hubbub is about, yo. Support good people, doing good work. We are having fun doing it, right? We're learning. We're doing the show. You get ranks and projections and all types of shit, implied team totals, plus this fantasy stuff. And there's football also. It's just like, oh, and there's also like, we model football and have weekly projections and stuff. Gosh, I got to start charging more. Without any further ado, best part of waking up. Pitching sheets in your mug, Jaybird. I saw the comment. I was dying already. Best part of waking up is staring at Johnny Legaze's mug. Oh, heaven. Oh, gosh, heaven forbid. Although, I got to shout out, yo, Jeff, good morning, everybody. Much love and respect to everybody out there. One really killed me. I'm a wrestling honk. Have always been. Big Hogan guy, Jeff, yo, you popped me with that. Jeff says, that'll work for me, brother. That don't work for me, brother. We're not jobbing for no fucking books. Know what I'm saying? All right, I'll get back to everybody afterwards. Yeah, Firebrain looking fresh. It's my little guy's first communion. And since COVID, I'm such a cheap fuck. And I like to do stuff. I've been cutting my own hair. That's why it never looks that good. So like theory of multiplicity, right? The copy of a copy of a copy of a copy eventually looks fucking terrible. So I'm usually Christmas or big events when they have to photograph the fucking Sasquatch, I'll get cleaned up. You know what I'm saying? But all right, let's go. Enough of that bullshit, right? Let's do the thing we do. Me and you, the Corked Stats crew, 9 games on the slate. Looks like a 3-3-3. 3 early, like 1 and 2. Then I think 3 kick off at the 3 p.m. hour, and then 3 at the nighttime. Let's start there and work it backwards as always, keeping the commuter crowd in mind. So I'm going to scroll up a little bit. I am going, watch this. I'm going to pitch a fucking perfect game right now. After the last 2 days, I listened back. I laughed. Podcast people have no idea I cut out a fucking club because I was just pulling whatever few hairs I had left out. First up, it's the New York Yankees and Cameron Schlittler damn near Kildler on the bump for the bad guys. They're on the road down in Yawkey to face Peyton Toll. Got to pay the troll toll and the fucking red laundry. Okay, if you're looking up at the board, Peyton Toll, man, has anyone had a worse run out in a smaller sample and deserve better? Let's take a look at Cameron Schlittler first. What you see on the board, 25-26. I also have, I'm flipping over there, I also have 26 only to add a little bit more context, right? We're not at the point where we only want to be looking at 26, but we do want to make sure that we have a little bit of context added beyond just, listen, KBB, Sierra, and the Whip will get you somewhere, but not all the way home, just kind of building out all the templates and stuff. Schlittler's been a damn goat. He carried that into this year. He's been even better this year because, if I'm not mistaken, right, it was okay, so this is something we covered again. Let's take our first fucking gold star. We talk about this all the time. Be careful following the filter queen and all these other momos. This very low IQ, very lacking contextual girth. Well, the third worst walk rate, and you just can't do that nowadays. It's missing context. Yes, things are going to hit sometimes. These are binary events. It either does or it doesn't. You could hit and be the victim of success via bad process. Walk rate is one of those things that we're learning. Listen, yes, it's a good stat. It's a great stat. It's like an eternal stat. We now have full access, or at least the subs here do, to fucking ball rate. The sample is bigger and is going to be more predictive of command and control. We mentioned that in Schlittler's first time around, I should say, where the ball rate was way too low for a walk rate that high. This year, that stuff is kind of cleaned up. So just remember, it's not like, I have a million stats, so I know everything. It's understanding what stats work and why, then how to use them and where, right? This whole third worst thing is just, it is really aggravating to me. Or this K prop went under this many times in a row. You're not telling us what the line was. I'm not going to do whatever I think I'm going to do and fucking freak out. Although I do know people like a little bit of ranting here and there, right? We want to make them know we're not always on fucking defense, baby. So Schlittler now has leveled up that command that we knew would come, and now he's like, listen, he looks like a legit ace. I don't want to just throw flowers at my guy because he's a Yankee. There is one hang up that I worry about. It's sustainability. Again, the nuance and the context that kind of drips out of your nose hole when you rock with us. Last I checked, I think he throws 98% fastballs, if that's even a thing. Now, granted, they're not all four seamers, but. Oh, listen. Oh, yeah, I got a better break sound. That break fucking effect, that was terrible. Hold up. Wait a minute. With your fucking big ass. I missed that. I couldn't do it without the sound effect. So Schlittler, it's 98% fastballs. Legit. It's crazy. Okay, this year he's got the curveball up to 8, though it's only to lefties. That's what the stat was. When we're looking just at righties, Cam Schlittler throws, 95%. It's either a sinker, a cutter, or a four-seamer, right? Those are all iterations of a fastball. So listen, he's got the goodies. He's got the big velo. He's got the big extension. He creates tons of whiffs with the four-seamer because it has a very good movement profile. You'd like to see a little bit more run, again, just in terms of sustainability. That rise, the IVB is excellent. And with the velo plus the spotting, right, the command and control, being able to get up and up, not up and down, you're going to have success. That's it. We generally see double-digit arm side run when we're going to have these elevated whiff rates. And I just think we're going to get a level of correction. But also, let's see, is that bit of curveball we're seeing, right, to go for kind of poke and setup, that guy in the meme, right, rubbing his fucking hands. If they're going to start introducing a real serious out pitch to lefties, something we always talk about, we're laying fucking eggs everywhere here. This is the stuff that's going to matter. So right now, Schlittler, excellent day, but gonna have to keep changing if this is gonna be sustainable. I'm honestly, and I love the Yankees, I'm not buying some SP1 full-on freaking breakout here. Let's go flip side totally. And I mean, the Red Sox offense is just so shitty. When we're referring to righties, everybody, that'll be L14. If I refer to versus lefties, that's when offenses are labeled in red, everything kind of built with the need for speed in mind. I'm going to be looking at year-to-date, and then L7 is overall. Do not split L7. You really want to be careful with L7 overall. I mentioned that Tolle is a lefty, right? Believe it or not, one of my blind spots in MLB coverages, who's lefty and righty? I know it's embarrassing, but I like to take my L's where they are. So making that mistake is the worst. Okay, so Toll, you'll see the numbers up on the board. I mean, they really couldn't be any worse. That's the major league stuff from last year. 16 and a third. He pitched to a 6 ERA and a 1.6 whip. Claude has him over 7. Too many walks. Couldn't get the cold stuff over, and it couldn't induce any chases, right? So what does that tell you right off the bat? Again, enough stats to build the template. Everything sorted. Keep the train of thought going so we could move. I'm on E. You gotta have, you can have crazy movement on breaking stuff, and it seemed to check a lot of boxes. Oh, look, the disparity is there, and the sweep movement and all that stuff. If they're not threatening the zone, hitters are going to lay off it, right? So I think that's what we've seen is His off-speed stuff, he couldn't get it over for strikes. When they would identify Ben, they would just let it go. It's not enough of a challenge on the zone with 2 strikes, and it's just always getting laid off. The reason I say that is the underpinning stuff from Tolle last year. I'm not even sure if it's Toll or Tolle. Toll House, Troll Toll. I mean, this guy's going to have all the nicknames. The arsenal was ridiculous. Way too many four-seamers. I'll be curious to see if he tones that down from 65%. Generally unsustainable, but the pitch is ridiculous. I mean, he's coming with 97 with a 7'5" extension, so that's like a 100th percentile extension. With 2,300 spin is probably like 3/4 of the way up. I like to think in terms of starters only. Forget relievers. The stuff is insane because of the workload reduced so much. Again, we are just like on fire right now. I told you I was coming out swinging. You know what I mean? So you get the four-seamer, elite four-seamer. Again, it's still too many, as good as it is. Regardless of production, I want to see better sequencing. It's a little too easy to guess, especially against the Yankees. But like, four-seamer, 28 whiff. The cutter, 33 whiff. The slider, 33 whiff. The changeup, 44 whiff. That's the changeup to righties, right? He gets the flip side. That opposite-handed devastation he is got filth. So be careful with the 6. I did not model him as a 6 ERA pitcher. He's been much better than that this season so far. 15 innings in AAA, 3 ERA, 107 whip, 31 K to just 6 walk, 40 ground ball, and a half a homer 9. That's the shit that we're looking for. Toll is going to be really, 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 how many reallys do you got? Really good. Yankee offense is such a tough mother effer to go after. And I think it's very much reflected in the stats versus lefties. Overly patient, lots of walks, no chases, right? We're starting to form the sellout moniker. Remember, sellout, it's not just all or none. It's a very particular type. Because they don't chase, that's the raised floor to make the sacrifice that gets you worried. If a team is all or none, technically, like lots of home runs with lots of strikeouts, but they also chase, that's enough floor to challenge. These Yankees worry me because they're showing you that their pitch selection is good. If you don't challenge the zone, they will take the walk. If you make the mistake, they're going to prolapse you in front of 55,000 drunken Bronx boogie downers. You know what I mean? So got to be worried about the Yanks. Also got to be worried about the Boston side. In reverse, Boston versus righties last 300 plate appearances, just 3 home runs with a 292 slug. Is that like a number? This is insane. It's really bad. Too many ground balls, not enough fly balls. They might be dead last. If not, it's like bottom 5 in ex-Wobacon versus righties. Red Sox doing no damage, and my heart is breaking looking at the Jarren Duran usage. I can't believe it. My guy finally played, but he played against fucking lefty. He sat 3 of 5. I don't know what's going on. All that to say, you want to go under, right? You want to be under the 4.5 if that's what's out there. But when I checked this morning, that's what I saw. Yo, Jack, I got you, man. Appreciate you so much. Signing on board. Let me get off air and I'll get you hooked up, brother. Again, if the F5 line is 4.5, we want the under. Anytime you're going under on Yankee games, you're just taking such a massive risk. But according to Odds Trader, at least, that's what's up on the live board right now. They're starting to move to 4. It looks like it says my bookie 4.5, but they're not listed. See that issue? Now we're getting 0-4s minus 120. They don't have U's on this. Gosh, I don't know. So that's my answer. I'm going to put U 4.5 on the show pick. But, again, anytime you're going under Yankees, it's you got to be prepared for the fucking pain. You got a youngster in the debut. As much as we like him, you have to be weary of that stuff. That's life in the big city. Like, we worry about, everybody. We worry about Chris Sale. We worry about fucking, Tariq Skubal. You know what I mean? Everybody. So give me under lack of scoring. I have the Yanks to win, but it's a little bit too pricey for me. Under yesterday was the only bet we did lose. Oh, I was ready to pull out my fucking hair again. Right? It was Milwaukee, Detroit, it was 1-0 entering bottom 5. We were under F5, U 4.5. Those are my favorite bets, but you sweat and you fucking sweat and you sweat. Tack 2 on, right? Detroit up 2-1, maybe tack on another one, whatever it was. It's a 3-1 bottom 5 and gets to the 2 outs, 2 strikes, and you know we give up the base hit and lost. That game goes full game under. However, the Pirates, who also blew a late lead, they ended up getting it done at the fucking end. Though I was really happy about the hit and run ribbies. I wanted to call that one out. It's not a fucking accident, right? When you back test and refine your work, subsequent success is generally not a mistake, right? When you work this hard, the winning feels a lot less like luck. There's a reason I do combines. It's so I can keep the mental clarity working 25 hours a fucking day to back test in real time. What did we mention with the hit run ribbies? As I was back testing immediately, it looked like lineup placement fell a little bit short in the calculations because it was geared for bases. Hit run ribbies are a lot more conducive to the work that we do because the hitter model is predicated on runs being scored. When you add in the lineup placement, that kind of shot us up, and boom, 4 for 4 yesterday. So, and again, you got to be careful. You LOL like Miguel Vargas. I actually took Miguel Vargas over any of the Padres because the Padres lines were too high, right? So even when we're kind of locked in on work, pricing always matters. Jay, do your thing. Hit me up tomorrow. Don't let me forget. Might be up all fucking night. I have a draft stream with Nando and the Oracles. I had been doing Thursdays with Sauce. I haven't spoken to them yet, so I may be doing a 24-hour fucking shift right now. All right, let's get back into it. Enough for the fat nose. Looks like Joey Ryan on the bump for the Twinks, -112 against Christian Great Scott. And the Let's Go Mets go, -108. Will he get up to 1.21 gigawatts? I don't know. Turn off the lights and I'll glow. That was a couple of 80s references balled up right there. This is another, enigma wrapped in a mystery. Joey Ryan is the easy part. We really like Ryan. He's always a stud. Command and control with an excellent fastball that he probably throws too much. But he's able to spot it, so he gets away with it most of the time. But. In the zone with the four-seamer 50 some odd percent of the time, 51% of the time. Some of those fly balls that don't turn into infield flies will end up in the seats. You see that with the high total home runs of the homer 9 is low, right? 1-2 homer 9 is right around average, maybe a smidge on the right there, though. But 27 homers in 198 innings, think of it as like a really robust season. 27 homers is a lot. He keeps the ERA down because he's not really walking guys. But that's the hang up for Ryan. Let's continue this into the Mets breakdown. Mets v. righties. So the contact is good. They're not chasing. They're striking out too much, but they haven't lifted. They haven't hit it hard. Couple of home runs, though I think they were like all indoor, and now he's missing. So I don't think the Mets match up well on offense v. Ryan. Interesting to check on the splits. I forgot. No, Ryan is pretty much an even split guy. It's tough to get to, no matter who, but the misses end up out. Other side is Christian Scott. I mean, this is another, too many uncertainties at once. Me, I personally love Christian Scott. Just for transparency's sake, I have a top waiver priority in a home fantasy league. And I am trying to choose between Toll was taken between Scott and, oh my gosh, who the hell else? Oh, Richie is also going. We'll talk about him in a second. I don't know. Scott is excellent. This is a top kind of ranked prospect. But we have the TJ, and he's not in the honeymoon phase. Right? We got to be careful as we approach these Tommy John guys because it's worked so well that the data started to bear it out. I started to practice, and now that it works, I'm on board. If you're unfamiliar, let's do the TJ thing. I need a clipper. Are there any young, aspirational, fucking media savvy people? Will pay for clips. Hold on just a second. Okay. when we're dealing with pitchers that have Tommy John surgery, there are a few mistakes that are made. I think it was Jeff Zimmerman. I always like to credit the people laying the foundation. I've always believed fantasy helps to understand the science of the games where the nerdy stuff is happening off season. Once the betting begins, everyone's too busy, too much action. So when it comes to TJ, one, you got to give these guys the full 12 or 14 months to throw. When they first return, don't be fooled by the velo. That tends to return at that time. What doesn't return is the command and control. What ends up happening in fantasy and then subsequently in betting, right, is these pitchers come back, they have the great velo, they look healthy, Sandy Alcantara. But the command and control is whack, like Sandy Alcantara. People were overpaying for the velo that they saw. Some cases it's the end of the season, some cases it's spring training. But without the command and the control, that pitcher kind of sucks. The fantasy industry is disappointed. That player generally gets discounted. Will be there for the sloppy seconds in the dentist system. Right. Drop the Magnum condom on the floor. Idea being, if Tommy John is the N, we're fading the N+1. We're on board with the N+2. Right. So that second year is when we want to buy in. So like it's next season for Scott. So as much as I like him and want to back him, and right, I think he's off to a fantastic start in the minors. And right, I think I actually have Scott's stuff up. No, that's okay. I have his 24 stuff. Okay, well, I'll just have to read it out. I forgot. That's what I drew. That was the last time he was in the bigs. Scott this season, 13 2/3, 5.27 ERA, 110 WHIP. That's a little scary. However, 29K to just 3.5 walk. Balls in the air, he's giving up home runs, right? So what's the problem? We're worried about command and control, manifesting up in the zone and turning into homers. There's the Scott 24 stuff I mentioned. I don't even know how relevant it is. I hate the blank spaces. Twins offense has also been a nice surprise. The last 2 weeks, maybe a couple of chinks in the armor showing up. Now I want to see last 7. It's getting gross. So this would be an example of a time that I do kind of look at L7, a team that we thought has overperformed. In the mid sample starts to like show the weakness. And then in the smaller sample, it's bottoming. Right. So right now it actually looks like we don't want to back the Twins offense. 200 plate appearances as a team, just 2 homers, batting .212 with a .601 OPS, sub 100 ISO. Losing in the zone, bottom 3 hard hit, 3% barrel. That's a 73 WRC plus. Twins offense has been pretty gross. I mean, I don't want to talk myself into a bet that I probably shouldn't be on. I guess I should have just checked. Hold on. Algorithm says. Yeah, I mean, it's probably bet the Twins, right? It's let the public kind of chase, the shiny toy. Take the established starter. And, maybe in this case, we want the full game, actually. Ryan is good for distance. I doubt you'll get that from Scott. I doubt they'll push him. And then we get into the bullpens and where we should have the edge. So I'm going to put Twins for the win. I actually have a very rare fair market value edge on a favorite, which, you just don't get a ton of in MLB. So going to be the Twins to win. Let's move it on. Last game in the nighttime slate, and then we'll blow through the afternoon stuff. Bubba Chandler and the Pirates, they're on the road in Texas as 135 underdogs to face Jake the Snake DeGrom. Now, Bubba was a my guy, and you got to be careful again, with trajectory and expecting immediacy or instant gratification. Guy's only 23, pretty highly touted prospect. Well, I want to check the game log. Yeah, so again, that last one, he looked really sharp. And most importantly, when 6 just walked 3 hits, only struck out 3. but I think the command and the control was the thing we wanted to see for Bubba, to him to kind of settle in. So which he did. Again, he's 51 in the third as a starter in the bigs in his career, 368, 107 ERA whip combo. The whip is what we love. And it's been a little bit of everything. I think the 23% K rate, maybe a little bit low for the swinging strike at 12.5. Rule of thumb, sometimes you could shorthand, I should say, you could just double it. He gets chases, wins in zone. The ball is down, he's hard to take out. This should be the beginning of the, Bubba Chandler rise like the Phoenix. Jake the Snake, one of the pitchers, able to succeed. And I think we'll see that as a template in a copycat league where velocity is throttled on a guy like DeGrom to try and get sustainability. Now, I did this work, but I definitely didn't fucking invent it. I did. Wow, lots of bumps here. Where is this clipper? What we're learning, right? I don't want to say what we've learned is it's definitive. What we're learning about sustainability and velo is it's not necessarily throwing a certain velo is dangerous. Now, granted, you hit a certain point where it's going to lend itself to TJ. I would actually offer, though, the sample of pitchers that can do that is so small, it might be misleading. What the work is starting to lend itself towards is to think of the ligament like a rubber band. That it's not about how far you stretch it, right? That being the purpose of a rubber band. It's how often you stretch it near its max. Now, think of it in the kind of other side of that argument. Like you have this big fucking shipping rubber band, those big, half-inch fucking thick ones or whatever. How many times, but I should have started with when some people make the bullet argument, right? There's only so many bullets in the gun. We've all heard this. How many times can you stretch that big rubber band before it breaks? The answer is like infinity, right? Providing you don't like leave it out to get totally dried and crack. Like it's meant for that. How many times can you stretch it all the way out? Well, the answer is not 0. It's not 1. But if you keep doing that, it's going to break. So to translate into pitching and how we use this stuff, pitchers are learning not necessarily to turn down the max velo. They're turning down how frequently they touch max velo and creating a wider velocity band to build sustainability. And then also what they're learning, right? Multiple light bulbs go off sometimes, is that those different velo fastballs, you could throw it differently and have like a different pitch. So now not only are you protecting your arm from injury, you're actually making it harder on the hitter because it's not the same. As hard as your hardest fastball is to hit, it's going to be harder when it's different than the other one. So there's like 47 lessons and just more information that people generally give away for fucking free. Sign up. Don't be a cheap fucking bitch your whole life. Support the people doing good work. I'm out here busting my ass, right? Does this show reek of fucking effort? Obviously. Can't fake this shit, right? You know what I'm saying? We don't talk it, we live it. Get them when we're fitting around here. So this one should be a fucking under. I don't know if it's 4.5. It's at 4, but it's juice, so maybe you can find 4. Again, these are the overs. Gosh darn. Hold on. They have a total page. I have like a merged page. And I'm in like data hell right now. Yeah, it's 4. Okay, that's what I was looking for. I'm seeing under 4 plus 100. You might get it under 4.5. That's the play we like. These offenses are okay. Not really too concerned. You can see the last 2 weeks, they've been all right. But Rangers in particular are striking out too much. And Pirates have been on the ground entirely too much. So DeGrom really should kind of pick them apart. Last 7, we've seen those same kind of problems. So that ran on a little bit, getting a little professorial. However, right, don't forget the emoji. It is blowing out. I don't want to overreact. Texas is a decent hitting park. So I had to put it because I kept coming up short, right? So to give you an idea, we're under with a weather adjustment. So that's why I'm still willing to go under in case anyone was wondering, right? The emojis are there to stop the double count. Without that win, this might be a 3.5, 7 ordeal. So give me Late night under Pitt Tex F5U 4.5. And you know what? If you want to make the nighttime stuff an F5 parlay, that would work. So the nighttime parlay looks like Boston under 4.5, F5, Pitt under 4.5, F5, those game totals, and then Minnesota with the F5 win. All right, let's move it on up. Sorry again, I was trying to be a little more efficient, like using the timer and stuff, but there's so few games, and I want to sink my teeth into the nighttime stuff. People are going to be listening to this show after these afternoon games have happened. So I can't blame them for skipping it, and that kills watch times and stuff. And I got to be a little bit about me. All right, let's see if we can knock out a little afternoon parlay. Let's turn this into a board read. We may have to jump around a bit because my guy Richie is up there. So, all right, let's do a quick bit on Richie. Again, I'm a little selfish because I have to make this decision. Though I'm going to be watching, trying not to overreact to the one outing. So I mentioned my concerns with Scott. The reason we like Scott going forward is he should be pretty much solidified into a number 5 role. The problem with Richie, and I don't know if this is necessarily the case, but I'm not sure if he has like a job per se. Boston was talking about 6-man through a rough stretch of games, and they lose Gray. And like if you're just looking at, I'm sorry, that was, there's my mistake, motherfucker. I had Gray with Boston's Atlanta, but the argument stays the same. There really isn't a spot here. Holmes, Elder, Sale, Lopez, and Perez has been getting the ball. It feels like until he goes rotten, that's the move. There goes my perfect game. Maybe I could still get the quality start and the win with the money start and get the dub today. Now, we're LOLing Martin Perez as like a viable starter over a guy like Richie, but the Braves have aspirations, and you don't want to burn these guys out. They're all thinking about workload. To that point, though, Richie gave you 140 innings. So, for the fantasy stuff, a lot of mixed signals, and even bleeds into the betting stuff. You got to be worried about Scott in the debut. You got to be worried about Scott without the recovery time. We like Richie more today, but he's still doing the debut thing. He's also facing the much tougher offense. Nobody wants to get in the way of our fucking Nats. It's happening. I am readopting the Nats as my National League team. I've always been a Yankee guy, obviously. I flip-flopped from the Reds. I've rooted for the Pirates before. I've rooted for the Nats, and I got away from them. I'm going back to the Nationals. I was a huge James Wood stan. He looks freaking great. I can't help but bet on them. Their team totals are always perpetually too low. Funny, today, they're a 4.5. So books also on the debut kind of head scratch. So Richie's been fantastic so far. 27 and a third. A .99 ERA with a 102 whip. He has a 102 whip, and it's higher than his ERA. Now, too many walks, and that's been an issue. He's had double-digit walks. Last year through the minors, this year in AAA. No home runs, tons of ground balls. So many mixed signals. I'm usually very determinative with my priority waiver pick, and I just can't get there. So not to turn us into too much of a fantasy show, but I'd like to pull the curtain on a lot of the subjective thought process, right? I present all of the data that I can, but there's always going to be that. I used to call it frog DNA, right? Jurassic Park reference. You have enough data to kind of figure shit out, but you have to bridge. So what'd you do? They use frog DNA. All right, now let's try and be fast. So Richie looks really good, but we're worried. I don't want to feed him to the Nats. Now, he's also left-handed, if I'm not mistaken. No, Richie's righty. Sorry, that was a botch. I wonder if I had... Oh, we had a different... Sorry, we thought it was Perez. Okay. So I want to take a challenge. I'm going to throw the challenge flag on that one. because that was a change starter I updated this morning. So Nats v righties have been good. It's the style of play that's the killer, and I think it's the reason why models and markets and bettors are struggling to come along on the Nats. Right? Again, this is why we build the entire tapestry, that it's discipline with zone wins, aggressive, hard hit balls, line drives, and they steal bases. Right? They're extremely fast. Something we talk about all the time. Yes, steals are good. But when your team steals, you build in the implication of speed, which is something that enough people don't talk about. Right? Nats with 9 steals, second in the league in the last 7 days alone, leading the league in runs. That's part of it. Everybody gets first to third. Everybody scores from second on a single. And if you watch the fucking slow-ass Yankees, right, or the slow-ass Giants, the Giants are, holy crap, they're the fucking slowest. Those are runs, and those are potential wins left on the board. So Nat speed is going to continue to be a bugaboo for everybody else and a help for us, right? If you're betting these team totals, that's just fucking hit every day. And Tony Cook, shout out. Every day, my man's like, yeah, I just bet it, and it hits, and I win money. And I'm like, that's how you do it. So the totals are a little bit high. You know, I wanted to buy into the Cavalli stuff, but he's starting to fall apart. He's pitching to contact. Braves offense has been awesome. I don't know. I was thinking about copping out to just the Braves team total. I was thinking about copping out to just the Nats team total, but I wanted it 3.5. So I don't really like anything. If I'm parlaying, I'm probably going to pay just a touch of the totals and get this one down to 8.5. Feeling pretty confident it's going to go over the 9. But again, when I'm pairing, that's when I'll buy the half a run. Because I just, this one could just go crazy over. Or like Richie could be great. And that's part of it. He's really been sharp this year. But man, I don't want to feed anybody to the Nats. And this is my problem. I can't go against my like ingrained narratives. I'm like, I fade debuts, and I fade rookies. So I'm going to bet like a rookie debut. I just can't do that. Next up, my guy Brandon Sproat, who I've really been into. He's a heavy ass dog against Tariq Skubal and the Tigers. Now, it makes sense, right? Skubal is the man. I didn't realize Sproat was having such a rough go. I think there's a little bit of context missing here, because I could swear I just watched this guy pitch and he looked phenomenal. Remember, we're still at that part of the season where like a bad outing or whatever could wreck you. I also pull starter data. So he could have a tough outing as a starter, had a brilliant outing as a reliever, which could also skew. So just really quick, I know I was trying not to turn this into a whole fucking thing, but I couldn't help it. Yeah, he the last 2 times out, he's been great. So again, be careful. Sproat has goods. He's a former Met top prospect. He went 6 2/3, gave up 1. Walk 1, struck out 6. That was a tough Blue Jays team. They're tough to handle in that manner. So I'm wheels up on Sproat. I think the market is a little bit slow here. I'd like to be under, but it looks like 3.5. My next play is actually, it's probably the fucking Brewers F5 run line. I don't trust him to get. I never trust anybody to get to Skubal. Though, if I'm not mistaken, he's looked human at points. But that's usually when you want to go after him. My bookie has the full F5 board up for anybody that's curious. It's really helpful to read at once. Yeah, that one's a 4. And I think the full game is 7. But yeah, that's probably where I'm at. I'm on an under. Maybe I give you the half. Maybe I give you the half run. The wind's blowing in this one. So I don't want to mislead when I'm putting a line that's not necessarily up there. But I just want to be clear. If I'm parlaying, I'm taking the half run. So give me under the 7.5 so we get out of here at 4-3. But frankly, I think we're going to get both pitchers to absolutely shove. Next up, Christopher Dirty Sanchez. He's on the road for the Fighting Phils against Edward Cabrera and the Baby Bears. They're home at Wrigley, wind blowing out. I fucking hate these games. Cabrera and Sanchez, I would want to be under, though I'm generally buying in on Sanchez when people are down on him. It looks like he's a light favored. It's pushed up a little bit. It's minus 135 F5. I don't think I want to go there. This one's a U4.5. It's actually a U5 because the U4.5 is even money. There's a U5. My bookie's been putting up alts for F5 also, which I love, but those are under 5 minus 130. I don't know if I'm going to get there. Shit. I don't know. I don't want to touch this one. I hate going under these wind out games in Wrigley. Fucking one pop up and it's like a wrap-a-rooney. I guess I would want to see the elevation stuff on the 2026 only. Sanchez is always down on the ground, but Cabrera's been up in the zone. Lots of pull, lots of lift. I don't like Cabrera today. If I'm taking a side, I'm going Phillies with the win. I want the extra few cents because Sanchez could shove and go 7. I don't like the short guys like him or pay an extra tax for an F5 where Cabrera is also the kind of guy that unravels. We kind of want to get him in the 5th or the 6th. So I got Phillies for the win. Let's move it on. San Diego and Matty Waldron's on the bump against Ryan Feltner. Damn near killed her up in the altitude. You know, we've been kind of hot to trot on the Rockies. I think they win this one as a dog. If I'm parlaying and playing conservative, I'd be looking for a price on the run line. Yeah, that's the play, minus 120. And just a quick little bit of, again, the behind the curtains math, how to digest some of this stuff. Because one of the questions I get the most is, like, how do you make that decision? Right? They both look good. The model score is there. Like, how do we make that determination, go money line or run line? And in the case of full games, well, it should always be price determinant, but it's about the cost of the run. Sometimes that single run cost you 100 cents, 90 cents, 110 cents. In this case, it's 45. That's the discount. A 45-cent run for a team we have modeled for a win. That's also at home. Plus 125 money line rocks, minus 125 to get the plus 1.5. I think books are a little bit confused here because the Rockies are atrocious. The public is not going to bet them. And then you get the variance of the ballpark. If this ballpark played the other way, it would reflect on the lines, on the money lines as well. Colorado's bullpen has also carried their own weight. Padres has been really good, and that's probably a bit of the hang-up. I guess maybe that is worth checking the F5 run line. Because if you're getting plus money or something that's close, we don't have a bullpen edge. I do like being home, but we don't have a bullpen edge. It's minus 135, and it's getting too expensive. So I'm going to put Colorado on the full game run line where we get a chance to lose at home and still cash that bitch. All right, let me scroll up. I'll bring up the next set if for the video people. All right, we got 2 more. 3 p.m., Davis Martin and the Pale Hose on the bump against Mikey Soroka and the Snakes with shapes on their back. I went to sleep to get some birthday gifts. And I didn't see how this one ended. I forgot to check. Arizona ended up winning 11-7. Holy crap. Everybody's base stuff got home yesterday. I think Arizona's in a nice bounce back spot. I really like Soroka. Davis had been on the list of guys that maybe don't get the credit they should. And the Arizona bullpen has been really, really strong. where the White Sox has been so crappy that this one's probably elementary, my dear Watson, and just kind of taking the favorite. Arizona hitting at home. You're paying the juice, but I'm pairing here. I'm going to actually put this one together after I get off the air. The old stuff's a little too tough to shop. Last but not least, Tyler Glasnow and the Trolley Dodgers. They're on the road under the bridge in San Fran to face Los Gigantes and the San Francisco Treats. This one's got all the low totals. I've been a little bit worried about Webb. We mentioned the distance he's pitching the contact against the best team in the league. Minus 160 is a tax. But I think Webb might be getting a little too much love. Glasnow's been phenomenal. And the Giant offense sucks. I was flipping as I'm talking about this stuff. This one feels like a Dodger kill shot. They lost yesterday too. Oh, definitely. And every sucker like myself was off Molly, thought he would get eviscerated. He went 7 scoreless. Ohtani was great, but Dreyer got touched. Give me LA to bounce it back and just get the dub. And that'll do it. Going on a little bit longer than I expected, but we can still get out of here before the hour mark. Thanks for picking up what we're putting down here at Corked Stats. Please press the like button. That shit matters more than it should. Comment if I didn't get to it, which matters more than it should. Speaking of comments, Jeff, Firebrain, shouting him out. Appreciate you all. Thomas Ronner, Big Johnny, Stud, how's it going? Thanks so much, mi gente. Doing great, feeling good. Mr. Elfring, up in the bitch as always. Yo, Jeff and Jason, I got to admit, there is some really sharp stuff going on in the comment section. I encourage people to check the video and read it. Also to follow my Twitter handle. I get nothing. You think I get anything for Twitter followers? No, mostly I get fucking people that want to bleed my work for nothing in return. And it's not just the green screens, which again I selfishly promote, but they do make me happy. Seeing how people do it, right? This is not a pick service. Yes, I put up picks because I like to bet and people want to know what I'm betting. But this is not a pick selling service. Check the timeline and see how people are digesting the work and attacking soft markets. Jay and Jeff with these both teams to score. Yo, I don't even who's looking at this shit, and that's how you do it. They're hard to price. You get good data early, shop those prices, and you're first. There's edge there. That market is not fully defined. No, look at me. I know everything about this shit. I look at this shit as much as anybody. I couldn't even tell you what the fucking prices look like. I don't know what the average score is, right? The way that we are able to talk about price as a leading indicator for totals, both team total and game total, again, it comes with experience. I don't know the both team. I have no fucking clue. What about these scenarios where, we like the underdog to score? That could be a huge flag. Jason getting on the all totals, right? Not being fucking greedy. Pigs eat and the hogs get slaughtered. So I love to see that. And the Shea Stradamus thing last night was fucking, did anybody see that? I had it pinned to my Twitter profile. This kid went fucking bananas last night. If you're savvy, man, there's a lot of great info there. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. The success you're having really is a reflection of the work, and it makes me really proud to kind of be a part of this thing of ours. So shout out to everybody doing the damn thing. Mark S says it's draft day. I'll be doing a live stream for the 7 Oracles. It'll be on my Twitter stream. We're going to be trading in real time on Kalshi. Again, I don't pretend to fucking know more than everybody else about this draft stuff. But I do know too many people follow experts who are experts, just not in this, right? These are people that understand everything there is to know about football, but coaches and teams and shit, 1, they're erratic, 2, they're irrational, 3, they're lying to create chaos in the markets that they're trying to take advantage of. So the best draft predictor in the world is going to be terrible, basically, no matter what. So don't be afraid to look for like edge and pop off. You might catch a couple long shots. I'm just be looking for some value. And then last but not least, Caleb, John, one of my friends going to hit a home run parlay for 200K. Last guy was Cruz on the Bucks. No. Oh, cashed out for 18K because he thought he was going to sell it. Hit the home run in the ninth. I thought Cruz had a home run rob. That might have been the night before. That's where I thought you were going. Hey, man, holy crap. That is freaking awesome stuff. So shout out to everybody getting paid. Made in the shade, laid like an egg. Check you later. Hit me up. Let me know the deal. And for the fantasy people, that list is updating in real time. So this is the best that product has been. Just real time. If it's highlighted, those are priorities. Every position with stashes on both sides. 10, 12s, and 15 outfielders, 10, 12s, and 15 team starting pitchers. Just work your way down the list. Right. So I'm doing it meticulously and constantly updating in real time. So like if you add on Tuesday, just check it. Extra stress on the big ad days like Thursday and Sunday, extra attention. But yeah, that shit is locked and loaded and ready for war. That'll do it. Enjoy the games. Enjoy the day. When we're done with the book, enjoy the pay. And remember, when you work this freaking hard, man, the winning feels a lot less like luck, yo. Peace.